Hello, my name is Ann Bryce, and I'd like to welcome you to the Bucks for Ducks Photographers Day. In the 10 years or so that we've been doing this show, we've tried to evolve with the times. When we first started it, we only accepted images that were taken at the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area, and now we welcome images to be submitted from all over California. Last year, for instance, we received over 600 images, and it's always been a juried show, so the three judges narrowed it down to 75. This year, of course, everything has changed. It's all virtual, and it's not a juried show for us this year. We simply invited the photographers who had their images accepted last year to submit a couple of their favorites, and we invited our photo committee to also submit. We selected 35, and we have made them slightly larger. There 30 of them are 10 by 14 and then matted, and 5 were chosen to be even larger. They're 16 by 20, and they're matted and framed. So be sure to check when you're online looking at them to see which are the ones that will finally be framed. And now you're going to hear from several of our photographers who graciously volunteered to tell you more about their pictures. And after watching this, I hope you'll go to yolabasin.org, Bucks for Ducks, to see all the 35 images and to bid on them. And finally, I'd like to thank all the photographers who participated this year and who've continued to donate their time and energy to making the Bucks for Ducks photography show a great event. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Louis Kemper. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my photographic journey. I started off taking pictures in high school where I had a class that half the year was photography and half the year was astronomy. This is my teacher here, and I stayed in touch with him until he passed away about 4 years ago. We were good friends. Jerry taught me a couple of things, but most importantly, he introduced me to Ansel Adams and to Ernest Haas, two photographers that were influential in my career. I went on to study photography in college, and this is my college professor at his retirement party that I went back east to attend. Shortly after college, I landed in Yosemite National Park, and I got a job at the Ansel Adams Gallery, back when Ansel was still alive. And the cool thing about working at the gallery was that I got to attend Ansel's workshops. I wrote and photographed the Yosemite Photographer's Handbook, the Yellowstone Photographer's Handbook. I'm a contributing editor to Outdoor Photographer. I was a columnist for PC Photo for 10 years. My pictures have been used in many magazines, commercial products, and ads worldwide. I was the photographer for Ancient Ancestors of the Southwest and Capturing the Light, which won the Photography Book Now People's Choice Award. I was the author and photographer for Photographing Yosemite Digital Field Guide. And now you can find my work on my website at louiskemper.com or follow me on Facebook at Louis Kemper Photography and Instagram and Twitter and all those social media things. I was a Canon Explorer of Light for 10 years, and now I'm a Tamron ambassador. You can see my work around town if you go to like UC Davis Medical Center or some of the Kaiser Medical Centers. My work's in the permanent collection in the Baltimore Museum of Art. And this is the picture they have at auction for the Bucks for Ducks. This was taken in the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area, and it's Comet Neowise over the Umbrella Barn. I had a great time taking this picture, and I'm really grateful for the people at Fish and Wildlife and YBF that allowed me to go into this area and make this image. And I hope whoever buys this image enjoys it as much as I did taking it.
Hi, my name is Beth Savage, and I'm a photographer out of Davis. And I thought I would tell you a little about me and my interests in photography. So, I really enjoy capturing our surrounding beauty here in the area, and that may be at the macro level of flowers, or it might be of agricultural subjects like the barn series you might have seen in previous silent auctions with the Yolo Basin Foundation. But I also really enjoy capturing natural landscapes, like this image that I have submitted for the live auction entitled Tornado Warning. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about how this picture came to be, because it's a pretty exciting story. Um, it was a year ago, last September, and I was attending a photo meetup in West Sacramento and meeting some new friends. And I had two competing thoughts as the party was wearing on, and that was one, I had work to do and I needed to get home, and two, there were some really cool clouds forming to the north. So what I decided to do was get myself out of there, and I'm heading over the bypass, and I'm going, I really have to work, but darn, we don't get storms like this. This is something special. So I hopped off at Childs and went to my favorite place to shoot around here, which is in the Yolo bypass. So I got myself deep into the bypass, and one of my favorite spots to shoot landscapes from there is on the return loop, where there's the winding road that you see in this image here, because it's a wonderful leading line heading north to this amazing storm that's forming. So I get myself in position, and I open my car door, and I stand in the door well for a little elevation. And in this case, you can't just wait for the right moment and take one picture. You know, this storm is forming, it's dynamic, there's lightning now. So I'm just shooting away like crazy, because it's the only way I'm going to get lightning in the case I didn't have a setup for long exposure. But I'm shooting, and my phone starts buzzing, and then it's ringing, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like trying to, answer the phone. And it's my friend who spent some time in the Midwest, and she says, "Are you out there?" And I said, "How did you know?" "Yes, of course I'm out here. This is a wonderful opportunity here." And she goes, "There is a tornado warning. It's not a tornado watch. There's a warning, and you need to seek cover now." And I'm looking at around myself. I'm out in the middle of nowhere in the bypass, no shelter out here. And I said, "Well, it's blue sky above me. I feel I'm okay." So, but thanked her. I said, "I'll be safe." And so I continued shooting for a little while, until there was some lightning about a mile away. And then I said, okay, I do want to survive to see my pictures. So I packed it in and headed home. And by the time I got home, in fact, social media was buzzing that there really was a tornado in Davis, which, when does that happen? So I missed the tornado, but I really got the cool storm. I got some lightning. And just a little bit about how I processed the image. I did enhance it a little for the drama that was happening. And also I like to paint with light to bring a little bit of drama and depth to the image. So the leading line there, the road, I have lightened that up, and other little details like you would if you were painting and you added a light colored paint. So that's something I like to do. I also want to give a shout out to Blue Wing Galleries in Woodland, because they were so kind to donate this framed print for the live auction. I use them for all of my high quality printing and framing needs. So if you win something in the auction that requires framing, please give them your business. And then lastly, just thank you for your support of the Yolo Basin Foundation and all the great work they do. And if you win this print today, this framed picture, you can enjoy a tornado warning from the safety of your own home. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Ken Ely, and I'm pleased to be with you today to talk about my photographs accepted for the Yolo Basins Foundation Bucks for Ducks silent auction. I've been a bird watcher for over 40 years. I have a bachelor's degree in wildlife biology, and at the same time I started bird watching, I bought a camera to document my sightings. So I've been spending my years bird watching and taking photographs of birds. I'm just an amateur. I do it for fun. A few years ago, I got interested in dragonflies. And because of that, I set up little sticks, branches in my yard for dragonflies to rest on when they're there. And during these stay-at-home orders, I've been bird watching and wildlife watching in the backyard. And this dragonfly, a male flame skimmer, posted up on one of my branches about 7 feet from me as I sat on a bench with my camera. And I watched him for about, I don't know, 30 minutes until I got tired of watching him. And he would sally out and he'd come back, and I enjoyed watching him look up in the sky for insects. I never saw him bring anything back to eat. But I just felt he felt comfortable with me that close. I felt comfortable with him, and it was really fun to sit there and watch his behavior and take photographs. And I kept thinking that, wow, dragons are real.
Hi, my name is Manfred Kusch. I'm retired from the University of California, where I used to teach European literature. And the piece that was selected for this auction is a photo of a male Bullock's oriole in my garden, about 3 miles west of Davis on the south bank of Bitter Creek. I've been interested in birds since my earliest childhood, and that interest has accompanied me during my entire life. But since my retirement, I've been able to devote more time and energy to it. I became interested in photography, especially bird photography, when I discovered that my garden, which is rather large, on the south bank of Cedar Creek, adjacent to the riparian woodland of the creek, began to attract more and more hummingbirds. So in order to learn how to photograph them, I participated in a number of workshops in the tropics led by well-known bird photographers. And photography of hummingbirds, of course, morphed very quickly into photography of birds in general. Bullock's orioles, the subject of that photo, arrive in my garden typically by the end of the very last days of March or the first week of April, most often a few days after the arrival of the first male hooded orioles, that also nest in my garden, which, as I've mentioned, is dominated by many, many palm trees, which hooded orioles prefer for nesting. The Bullock's orioles nest sometimes in my garden, but more often in a native grass area in front of my house, where I've planted a large number of California sycamores, which seems to be the preferred location for their nests, which are like hanging socks, pouches suspended from forks and branches. I welcome the orioles in the spring because after the more subdued colors of winter, their bright breeding plumage provides a wonderful contrast and a cheery welcome to spring. I hope that this photo somehow projects that cheery and colorful signal of spring in front of a background of new foliage and flowering roses. So I hope you enjoy this photo, and I'm looking forward to attending the auction. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rob Florkey, and you might see my name as Robert W. Florkey on the image. My image is mom and pup cuddling in the kelp. Of course, it's a sea otter photograph. I created that while kayaking one day out on Monterey Bay with some friends, and of course approaching the sea otters out there in the kelp bed, keeping some distance, but they were just lounging, relaxing, mom and baby interacting, and it was just so much fun to watch them and very joyful. So I stayed back, but I took a lot of images, and this one in particular I liked and offered it to the foundation for their fundraiser because it looks like the pup is giving a little wave to you, kind of a secret wave that Mom doesn't know about. And it was really cute to me, and I hope you enjoyed as well. Thank you so much for your generous support of the Yellow Basin Foundation and our efforts to fund our Discover the Flyway program and other events here at the Yellow Basin Foundation. And thank you so much for that. And with that, goodbye.
Hello, I'm Rob Katabaugh, and I've been enjoying wildlife photography for years. The name of this photo is Liftoff, and it's of a male humpback launching outside of Moss Landing, outside of Monterey, California. We were on a whale watch boat. We got out there a few minutes, and the sea got real choppy, and the captain said, "Boy, it's not a good day." And after about an hour out there, he says, "We're turning back," because we didn't see any whales. So we just turned back, and this one rogue male started jumping crazy. And I should add that I'm very susceptible to seasickness. I had taken a scope patch, so I was feeling pretty good, but this whale was going crazy. And at that point, the captain said, "Best put on your 70 to 200 lens," of which I wasn't made it clear of before. So I had a 180 to 400. I had too much lens. And none of us were getting any pictures. We were getting pictures of the sky. We were getting pictures of the boat deck. But it was so rough. We were just careening about. Finally, I wedged myself. I put my back against the hull of the boat and my foot way up against the rail and braced myself. And I got 4 or 5 really nice frames. One of the things that amazed me about looking at the photo later is the depression in the ocean underneath the whale's body, that it actually depressed the ocean as a reaction to lifting up. And that's something you would never see in real time. You have to look at a photo. Anyway, it was a thrilling opportunity to see nature in action, and I'm glad to contribute to the Bucks for Ducks. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Mayhew. I grew up on the East Coast on Martha's Vineyard Island, and I got interested in photography because my mom was a photographer, and she had a darkroom set up in the basement, so she taught me how to develop film and make prints at about age 11. She also did a study of our pond and got me interested in all animals and birds, so that's how I got my start in birding. And then I did photography for a long time before I started photographing birds. Really started photographing birds when digital cameras came out, because it was too expensive to try and photograph birds with film. So once I got a little point and shoot digital camera in 2004, I started with birds. It had 12 by lens. It had a terrible lag time between the time you push the button and you actually took the picture. It was very, very frustrating. But as the cameras got better and better, my photographs got better and better. And so I've been photographing, again, birds since 2004. So my first photograph is called Golden Crowned Kinglet. And it was always a bird that I had never been able to get a photo of before. It's a very small, very flitty bird, and there aren't too many down in the valley here. So I was up at Lake Tahoe last year about this time. We went to Talek Historical Park on the lake, and we were walking through the forest, and all of a sudden there was a whole flock of them surrounding me. And so I was really excited and got quite a few nice images of this beautiful little bird. And as I said, they're very difficult to photograph because they're very flitty and fast and small, and they're usually up high in the trees. So I was very pleased to get the photograph that I got. My other photograph, which is called Western Grebe with Baby on Board, was taken at Eagle Lake up near Susanville. And my husband and I recently got a boat, so it's kind of a cross between a kayak and an inflatable Zodiac. And we were able to actually get on the lake to photograph the grebes up there. And I hadn't been up there in years, but I did know that they nested up there. So we went with our boat, got in the water very early in the morning, and the grebes were very cooperative, and we got nice photos of the parents with the babies on board, parents giving their babies fish. And the one great thing about being on a boat is that you can get down to eye level with the bird. And so that was very, very exciting. Makes for a little more impact on your photo. So I hope you enjoy both these photos, and see you at Bucks for Ducks online for the auction. Thanks so much.
Okay, hi, I'm Mary Ellen Bauer, and my piece is the Iris Portrait. So my husband and I moved to Davis about 15 years ago. Our daughters had graduated from UC Davis and had settled in the area. We wanted to be closer to them and our grandchildren. And also, I had graduated from UC Davis quite a while ago, needless to say. And so I'm really happy to be back in the area. So about 10 years ago, I retired from teaching, which gave me a lot of time to really get involved with photography, which is such a captivating hobby. And it's hard to even pick what the best thing about it is, but I think it's that it really gets me out and about, taking in all the beautiful and interesting things that we have in our world. I especially like traveling with my camera, but needless to say, these days I'm sticking pretty close to home. So the flower in my portrait I found on one of my walks not too far from home, and I wanted to capture the character and the personality of that flower. It's just such an elegant flower with its detail, its flowy petals, and even the stylish purple and almost gold colors. Anyway, thank you so much, and thank you for supporting Bucks for Ducks.
Okay. Hello, my name is Al Johnson. The photo that the Yolo Basin Foundation has chosen is I entitled Clouds Over Corn. I've been interested in photography since I was young. In high school, my dad built a dark room, and that allowed me to learn about chemically based photography, printing and developing, so on. I spent a year with the U.S. Army in Vietnam, and that allowed me a lot of experience in photographing Army life and the Vietnamese people and the landscape in Vietnam. In 2008, I retired from the biotech industry, and that, along with the maturing of the digital photography technology, allowed me to pursue my interest in photography in earnest. The photo that the Yolo Basin Foundation has chosen was taken on Staten Island Road, outside of Walnut Grove here in the valley. I was out there hoping to get some shots of Mount Diablo after the weather had moved through, and I was hoping for some nice cumulus cloud formations around the mountain. That didn't work out, but there were some spectacular clouds coming from the west into the valley, and that allowed me to get this particular photograph along with several others. Thank you very much, and thank you for supporting the Yolo Basin Foundation.
Hi, I'm Beth Savage, and I'm a photographer based out of Davis. Just a little about myself and my interest. I enjoy landscape photography and agriculture-themed photography, and this past year I've really been focusing on botanicals, including macros of flowers, or in this case, this piece is one of a series that I have of things that have fallen from trees, whether it be leaves or cones or whatever. And this piece is called Ironwood Leaves, named after the plant itself. The ironwood tree, the Santa Cruz ironwood tree, is found from the Channel Islands. It's native, and you can also find it in the UC Davis Botanical Garden in the California section. What I really like about this particular plant is it produces these amazing leaves, where you can see the great leaf structure, but also just the range of color that you can see in these leaves, from a bright, vibrant green through the yellows and the oranges and the browns into the grays. And it really just makes for a beautiful collection of colors, as you can see here. I also created this image using focus stacking so I could get the great depth and texture of those leaves to enhance that. And then I added a little bit of color enhancement to give it some pop as well. But that's sort of the story about how this picture came to be. And I just want to thank all of you for supporting the Yolo Basin Foundation and the unique and inspiring work they do to bring outdoor education to kids. So thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Chin Chen. I came to Davis 52 years ago as a graduate student to UC Davis. I like to take pictures around here in Sacramento in wildlife area. And this year in the summer, I got a wind that lotus is blooming in the Sacramento William Lane Park, just near the Sacramento Zoo. So I went there several times, early morning, evening, late afternoon. Finally, I got to in the middle of the morning, and that's give me the best result. That's what my picture of Lotus Fascination 2020 with the 2B try to get the pollen from the flower, and it's just fascinating me. And I hope you will enjoy that too. Enjoy all the nature around here. And thank you for your attention. Bye.
Hi, I'm Mike Reinhardt. I'm one of the photographers for Bucks for Ducks, and I have a photo which is white geese and the buttes. Many years ago, when I moved to the Valley after having lived in the Bay Area and in the LA area, I really thought it was a desert out here. I really wasn't aware that there was much to look at out here in the Valley. And that all changed after I met my wife, who grew up in Colusa in a farming family. And when we'd go up to Colusa for family events, she'd take me out for walks in the refuge. And I first started to appreciate how much wildlife there was out here. And actually, one of the things that struck me most in those days was hearing thousands of ducks and geese take off at the same time. It was just amazing. So over the years, I've continued to go out and enjoy the birds, and also now trying to take photos of them along the way. And this last Thanksgiving, I sneaked out of the house early in the morning with my camera and went over to the Colusa Refuge. And I was on the auto route, and out in the distance, there was the greatest assembly of white geese that I think I've ever seen out there. And as I parked and got my camera out, they started to take off in waves, and I heard that sound again. And just thousands and thousands of white geese taking up and off in front of the buttes. It was one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. So it's not a desert out here. Make sure you get out to the Yola Bypass Wildlife Area and all the other refuges in the valley. Thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Charlie Russell. I'm a volunteer with the Yola Basin Foundation in NorCal Bats. The photo that I presented is Coast Range Mariposa Lily, Calochortus vestae. Calochortus is a genus that is very common in California. There's over 50 species, and many of them are found only in California. This particular one, it was the first time I found this particular species. It was in the Clover Springs Reserve in Sonoma County. My interest is in wildflowers. I've photographed primarily in California, although this activity has taken me all across the western U.S. and even into Europe and Africa. My specialty is wildflowers. So thank you very much.
My name is David Kolb. My piece is Seawolf. I'm a volunteer at the Yola Basin Foundation Discover the Flyway program. I'm one of their volunteer photographers, and a number of my photographs are used in their online media. Seawolf is something that I look for. It's basically a face in nature. Normally, I'm a street photographer, kind of go on a people safari, if you will. But I also love to see faces in nature. Now, seawolf is one that I spotted on the Sonoma coast on Goat Rock Beach, which is at the confluence of the Pacific and the Russian River. I was walking along the beach and saw this huge piece of driftwood, and I immediately noticed what appeared to me to be a wolf within the lines of the piece of driftwood. Now, it's kind of ambiguous. Some people may see something else. Some people may not see anything at all in the piece of wood. But usually when I show them the lines and the curves, then they go, aha, I spotted that. I do see what you're seeing. Now, what's interesting about this piece is it'll never be repeated. Just like my street photography, when I take an image and it probably will never be seen again, this will never be seen again, I can assure you, because 2 weeks after I took this photograph, a large storm came washing through the Sonoma coast and the Russian River and washed this huge log out to sea. So it disappeared. So seawolf is very unique, and I pride myself in that. And with my other faces in nature, as I call them, some may still exist and others may not. But I want to thank you very much for your support of the Yolo Basin Foundation. Would appreciate you bidding on Seawolf and all the other great photographs that you'll be seeing. And normally we would have liked to have this all in person, but being that the situation that it is, this is the best alternative. And this is a great fundraiser for the Yolo Basin Foundation, and anything that you can do to support the YBF would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jan Lightfoot, and my piece is called Celestial Crossings. I first became interested in photography in the 4th grade. I was really fascinated with the camera and what the camera could do. And my passion sort of evolved into, traditional photography, compositions, and things like that. And I had my own dark room, and I learned a lot. I've always been involved in photography in one way or another, and in 2009 I retired and just dove into digital photography, and I've been just absorbed ever since. And the piece I am showing you tonight, Celestial Crossings, is actually a composite of images, of 20 different images. And in one of the frames, when I was reviewing the photographs, I noticed a bright streak, which is a meteor that's actually crossing through the tail of the comet. And I included that in the final piece, hence the name Celestial Crossings. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Perry Hoke, and I'm a local NorCal photographer. Online, you can find me at coyotequest.com, and I'm based in Woodland, and I love doing nature and wildlife photography. One of the things I love about doing these photography is getting out into nature and outside of the city and capturing moments in time and the beauty of nature that surrounds us. And one of the other things that I love about doing it is being able to come home and share them with people, and hopefully people that normally don't get to go out and see these things get to enjoy the beauty that surrounds us. Many people don't even notice what's out there. So that is one of the things I love about doing it. And my photo for the auction this year is called Into the Fog, and it was taken at Effiya along the American River. And it was early one November morning in 2019. As the sun was coming up, the fog was heavy, and all of a sudden these common mergansers just flew into the fog. It was kind of a crazy time for me during that year, and I just really wanted to capture the calmness and the tranquility of that moment. And that inspired me to take that photo. So I'm happy to have it in the auction this year. And I really look forward to someone else enjoying that moment as much as I do. So thank you very much for your time and your consideration with it.
Hello, I'm Rob Cataba, and I've been photographing for years, enjoy it tremendously, and I'm happy to contribute to the Yolo Basin Foundation Bucks for Ducks. The name of my photo is Half In, Half Out, and it was a bit of serendipity as my wife and I were having dinner out in our back patio. The moon was up and we were having a glass of wine, enjoying ourselves, and the weather started to change and these beautiful clouds came in and the light was wonderful. And I was forced to put my dinner down, run in and get my big wildlife lens on the camera with a teleconverter. Didn't have time for a tripod, so I just laid down on my back, pointed the big lens up, took 2 pictures, went back to eating my dinner. And when I went to process the photos, I was very pleased. And of course, again, I want to say I'm happy to contribute to this very worthwhile cause. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sherelle Cataba. I do volunteer work for the Yolo Basin Foundation. Normally I work in the BAT programs, but not this year because of COVID, which changed a lot of things for me in a lot of ways. And one of the things that it did was it slowed me down. I spent a lot of time at Sailor Bar on the American River Parkway, close to my house, photographing animals, birds, flowers, leaf changes, water levels, all of that. And I kind of watch things day in and day out. So it was nice because I probably would not have slowed down on my own. I kind of tend to do 1,000 things at one time, all the time. So I've been photographing for, the last maybe 10 years pretty seriously. My husband and I have a lot of fun, gone on a lot of great trips and been around the world. But photographing close to home is something that we also enjoy doing, especially this year. So one of my favorite photographers, named Freeman Patterson, Canadian photographer, talks about photographing, looking in your own environment and photographing close to home. So I did that both along the river and around my house. Spent a lot of times photographing the flowers as they were coming into bloom. And the dogwood flower on a beautiful dogwood tree in front of my house is one of my favorites. I photograph it every year, and this year was exceptionally beautiful. I think it did that for me on purpose. So I hope you enjoy my photo of the dogwood flower.
Good morning. My name is Yvonne Hunter, and I am delighted to participate in this online video and auction event. I'm a longtime Davis resident and an even longer time photographer. Photography is my mental health, and especially during these challenging times. The photo that is part of the auction I call Sunrise Sunflower. We are so lucky in Yolo County, and in particular in Davis, to be surrounded by such beautiful scenery, including in the summer, acres and acres of sunflower fields. I love taking sunrise photos, and for this photo, I scouted around the perfect location a couple of days before, found a field near my house, just on the outside of Davis, where I could have safe access and wouldn't have to trample on the fields. I got up well before sunrise, so I could be at the field and catch the sunrise. I was, of course, facing east, catching the sun from behind the sunflowers, when I kind of turned to look and thought, oh my God, and noticed that when I was looking west, the sky was purple behind the yellow sunflower. Some people have asked me if I just did the color, changed it purple, and I did not. That is the way the color was. I was fortunate enough to catch maybe 6 images this way, and then it was gone. I love these photos. They're fabulous, and I hope you will too. And bid high, bid often. Thank you very much.
Hi again. I hope you enjoyed hearing from the photographers, and I think you'll agree that we have lots of wonderful images. And now you can go to yolobasin.org/bucksforducks and see the rest of the images and start to place your bids. Bidding for the online auction photographs is now open and will continue until Sunday, the 15th at 5 p.m., so don't miss out. I also hope that you'll join the showcase event for Bucks for Ducks on Saturday night, the 14th. It starts at 6 p.m. and features a live auction, which includes two of our favorite photographers, Beth Savage and Lewis Kemper. They both have wonderful, dramatic images taken at the wildlife area. You won't want to miss them. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to all of you, our supporters, for joining in this brave new world of virtual fundraising. And we're grateful that you're here, and we need you more now than ever. Thanks so much.